Hi, Hugo. How are you
Hello,
doing today?
fine, and you?
Good, good. Thank you for asking. I firstly, I just want to say thank you so much for taking the time to meet with me today. I really appreciate this opportunity, especially because I this film is just like absolutely phenomenal. I think it's like genuinely just like not only one of the best films of the year easily, but it's actually the only film this year that's actually made me cry. The two times that I've seen it, both the first time at TIFF and now recently. So thank you for making me cry. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm sure you've been asked this plenty of times before, and I apologize for yet again being the next person to ask this, but I'm kind of curious where this idea came from for this film. Like what sort of inspired you to not only make this film, but kind of make this film in this particular style and this particular tone. I remember at the TIFF premiere you mentioned kind of your inspiration was your kids asking why you haven't like really made sort of like a hopeful story before, and this was kind of your way of like doing that. So I'm kind of curious, like where all this started and what really inspired you to make Arco.
It started in 20, a little bit before 2020, but in 2020, it appeared really clearly in my head. Okay, we're living in a science fiction movie right now, and I think the cause is science fiction always spread bad, created bad futures in which beauty, in which humanity was going really bad, and I said, okay, maybe it's our role now to science fiction writers to imagine better things in order them to happen, because if we just imagine bad things, they obviously happen, and yeah, if we want better things to happen, we have to imagine them too. So this was the first like thinking, and then a lot of things mixed together, and it took time. And one day, I don't know why, like I was drawing and a head popped out of the sky and I traced like colors behind it, and Arco was born. And I sent it to my partner Felix de Givry at Remembers, and he told me, okay, this can be a feature film, and we began working right away. And I drew like hundreds and thousands of frames of the movie, storyboarding it while we were writing after together, and yeah, and writing came from drawing also. So I think that's important too. It's like it's animation. It's not like and 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 also cinema is a lot of about images. At the end of the day, it's images with sound, and we should always write not only text, but for, yeah, by images too. Yeah.
Yeah, I completely agree with that, and I think that's why like just pretty much like every single frame of this film is just like really beautiful to look at, like particularly just both in terms of the art style, but also just like kind of the way that you use color. I'm kind of curious what was sort of your thought process behind like designing the look of the characters and especially kind of how color is used because it's a very colorful film, like a lot of characters are wearing really bright and saturated colors. So I'm kind of curious like what your thought process was when were ultimately like shaping the look of this film.
In fact, I direct movies, and I do comic books since 15 years, and everything I do is in this. Like it took me 15 years, but in for example a movie, a music video I did, there were already these colors, these costumes, and in my comics books too. And it's just my style, in my way. It's my way of mixing things, of directing things, and also it's because I think I lived in Mexico, in Guatemala, in Chad, and I loved animes. I love Disney's. I love, and all these have been mixed together. And Arco is the result of everything I went through in my life, and the result of me wanting to bring like yeah, a hug to the world, and say, and a smoothness to the world, and a little bit of light in this world too. Yeah.
For sure. Yeah, and you mentioned kind of like your inspirations. Like I don't know if this was an intentional choice or not, but I there was a lot of this film that really screamed Miyazaki for me. It really screamed Studio Ghibli, like, and especially the music. Like, I really have to commend you and the composer for creating a score that I don't know if this was an intentional choice, but it felt so reminiscent of like a Joe Hisaishi score for like a classic Hayao Miyazaki film. So I'm curious, like, if Hayao Miyazaki was like a major inspiration for you at all, and if you were consciously thinking about his films like when you were creating ARCO with your team.
When I write, when I direct, I don't think about other people. I mean, movies and fiction and fictions are like organisms, autonomous organisms, and our job is just to reveal them, to bring them to life, you know. But they are in kind of independent in a way, and our job is to protect them. But I think because before, in all my jobs before, in all everything I did, like nobody told me about Miyazaki. And it's amazing because I think what we have in common is the love of nature, the fact that we love representing nature. But if you watch Arco, the backgrounds weren't made painting; they are all like more hatching and color on computer, you know, which is totally different. And the characters, if you put the designs in front, they don't look at all like Miyazaki. But I think the feeling is like Miyazaki because I think we share the same love of complexity, the same love of yeah, of nature, of love, human relationships, and depicting the world not as simple as it's used to be in casual production, I think. And I mean, I love characters that can be good in one scene and bad in the other. I love, yeah, and also, yeah, I think that's what we share in common. And I mean, people when they tell me, "Oh, it reminds me Miyazaki," to me it's a huge compliment because for me he's the best, and almost he's one of the only ones that bring me what he brings, you know. To yeah.
For sure. And I think like that's kind of apologies for if there was any miscommunication. I think that was just primarily what I was trying to get at, where it's like the feeling and the tone and like especially you mentioned the complexity, especially from a thematic angle, felt very Miyazaki-ish. Like I like the way you tackle like a lot of themes like say like environmentalism, but also things like technology and artificial intelligence. Like I really love how you kind of just like present them as is, you know.
Mm.
And so I'm curious, like from the way that, you know, say like environmentalism is portrayed, like just based on like the natural disasters that occur in the film, or the way that robots play in this universe, where they like, you know, they primarily take up the jobs of say like construction workers or teachers or police officers. I'm curious if there is like a specific message that you wanted to convey to the audience. Was there a particular emotion or cathartic feeling that audiences should be having when they're seeing these things like play out on the screen?
What I hope is that I put things together in order to, when they get in contact, they produce a question, and what I hope is that I produced the questions that are important right now for our human, you know, community, and say, I don't want to give my point of view when I'm directing. If I give my point of view, I hate AI. I think we're gonna, but I'm
Oh,
a
fair.
director. I'm not
Huh.
someone that has to give his own, you know. If I want to give my point of view, I go to a bar and talk to people, and that, but when I'm directing, I'm trying to put things together and say, okay, uh technology, I want to, everything I show, I try to show it in the two sides, you know. And in order to let the audience have his own opinion. And for example, Mickey is is a good thing because his parents are working all the time and he's allowing them to provide at the same time the best for her child, because their child, because she can live in a better place than in the city, like we're like yeah. But at the same time, but at the same time, Mickey allows their parents not to be there and not to do their job of transmission. So there's either a good way and a bad way, and at the end, like it's Mickey that saves the kids, so it's not that bad. But he saves them imitating animals. So it's always showing the thing in in its different sizes, you know, yeah, sides. And then it's not, yeah, it's the audience that has to. It, I just want to create questions in their hand and say, questioning the audience, say, if we go there, are you okay? Are we leaving something of our humanity if we go this way? And that, yeah, just and it's not me to answer. It's not my job.
Absolutely, yeah. And on the topic of Mickey, I found this character particularly fascinating. And later on, while I was doing a bit of research, I discovered that this character has actually been present in a lot of your previous work, like, say like your comic book system preference.
Yeah.
I'm curious, what about this character do you find really fascinating, and what about him really what about this character like jumped out to you that you wanted to put Mickey in Arco?
Mickey, since when he appeared in like 2016, 17, I think, in my job, like he appeared and I can't now work without him because he's allowing me to ask questions that if I embody these questions in human beings, they are so hard to receive because and the fact that it's a robot, he's not going, he's not if I if a human being says what Mickey says, it's a point of view. But if Mickey says it, it's like sorry, in French I have it, but uh merde, sorry. It's yeah, it's not a point of view, it's a fact, you know. This is it. It's factual. And it allows me to be sometimes rude to the audience or to me or to myself. It also allows me to ask me myself questions that are hard to receive and to provide like yeah the yeah to watch me in the mirror and to watch humanity in the mirror, you know, and to say, are we lying to us doing this? Are we doing the good things doing that? Are we, yeah, it's allowing me to ask me many questions that are not um sometimes not pleasant to be asked, you know.
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Well, that's all the time I have, but thank you
Yeah.
again for speaking with me. This was a really, really amazing conversation, and I hope this film gets seen by as many people as possible. Easily just a beautiful film, one of the best movies of the year. So thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thank
Yep,
you.
of course. Thank you.